My dear friends and fellow travelers, I'm out in the souk, the marketplace. I'm on my way up to shop for like food, you know. I'm gonna buy eggs. I'm gonna get a couple of dozen eggs. I'm gonna buy cheese. I'm gonna buy, what else am I gonna buy? Yogurts. You know, just going to save a few pennies. You know, shopping off of flyers, waiting for specials. You know, things like that. I'm extending what I'm doing yesterday about the really important things. You know, the really important things within Judaism. Number one, that there are two souls that are represented by the two names, and I'm going to use the real names here, Elohim and we'll call Yud-Kei Vav-Kei. Sometimes Yud-Hei Vav-Hei. And quite frankly, the Elohim name, the name that created the world, is not much different than like a general name for everybody that created, you know, that it's like God, not Lord, which is Yud-Hei Vav-Hei. And so it's the Elohim is the general name, and then the Yud-Hei Vav-Hei is the particular name for Jewish people. It's an interesting thing, the word Elohim, because the word Elohim is a feminine Elah. It's a feminine word with a masculine ending. So it's a feminine word with a masculine ending, meaning some sort of like a masculine plural there. Oh, I see some nice prices here on the way up. I'm going to be shopping here some other time. See how I'm looking at those prices in the souk. Well, Elohim to me is the feminine aspect, you see. And it's strange enough that the feminine aspect has a plurality in it. It has a two-ness in it. And it's shown, by the way, even in the Yud-Hei Vav-Hei, by being two Heys. And that the feminine, to be complete, is actually a reflection of itself. The feminine, and that's why kind of like, you know, women wear makeup and things like that. It's their own image, you see. They see an image of themselves, and that's what kind of like completes the feminine. The male doesn't have that and needs the image to look at the feminine. But the feminine is complete in her own self by looking at her own image. And this is a very deep thing. This is not like a sexist thing. This is expressed within a lot of deep religiosity, which I'll show. There are two parts of the self, so to speak. The Elohim is the animal soul, which is reflected from the waist down. Kind of, its emblem, its best showing is in the legs. The legs, you know, kind of like are unconscious and walking, and it's like natural. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm going for a walk. And that's the Elohim name from below the waist. The above the waist, above the hands, because man is an animal with hands, the hands show the Yud-Hei Vav-Hei name. And it's more of the godly soul, because as we develop you know, great talents in the godly soul, the ability to write, the ability to play piano, and athletics, things like that with the hands. So its hands represent the godly soul of the above half of the body, and the feet represent the animal soul in the lower half of the body. And the next thing that's very, very important here is that, Hava was associated with the Nahash. And the word that's used in those few lines of the Torah is Elohim, the God named Elohim. And as I can show, the gematria of Nahash is the full gematria of Elohim, 3 spellings. Take my word for it on this little speech. And so, what are we really doing here? The Nahash is associating with the woman, with Hava. Now, if that's the case, that's great. But this is where the big problem came in, you see. The big problem came in that I'm looking at more stuff in the souk. The big problem came in here that Hava, through the influence of the Nahash and Elohim, then came to Adam, who quite frankly was under the influence of Yud-Heh Vav-Heh, the male godly soul, which is represented in the male. And in a certain sense, as I've said in previous videos, I'm not sure that a woman has a godly soul. She has an animal soul. This in itself isn't so bad, because you don't live without an animal soul. You're not down here as a crown. You're not down here as a Keter Malchus. The Malchus here is this animal soul, which will be shown to be higher. But everybody always wants to be like on top, like godly and this and that. And the big problem was that Adam was influenced by the Elohim name and Hava, and that's where the fall comes from. That he didn't live up to his potentiality and exercise his soul. And that's one of the things there. And this is what I'm actually interested in today, because on a personal note, I feel that my body's dead, and that God, the Yud-Heh Vav-Heh, is living through me. So it's not much different than the corpse pose in yoga, or any of these still poses in yoga. You see, that the animal soul is quiet, dead, and then what happens? And that's what we're going to see with this. So for the time being, I just wanted to do a few minutes here as I walk, because, as I said, all things are done between walking of one spot to the next. That's one of the great secrets. And I'm now doing a lot of work here with the juxtaposition of the names of Elohim and Yud-Heh Vav-Heh, and the relationships between these two, which are very deep, and that's how I got to this in the first place, which I'll talk about in later times. But for the time being, the animal soul is of Hava, and the godly soul Adam. And the animal soul is of the Nahash, which is a very big deal here, because you know the Nahash was supposed to be like the king of the jungle. You know, he was erect. He was the leader of the animal pack. And then because of what happened, he went on his belly, which that belly is a symbol that he was a Sota along with Hava. And it's the male representation because it happens that there's parallelisms that happen to the male from the female's, you know, Sota. And so for the time being, I'm still on my way to the find and save a few pennies on a dozen eggs.